case in Fort Lauderdale was a planned, premeditated event. It took time to plan this thing. And typically, when a person snaps, so to speak, because of post-traumatic stress syndrome, they just don't plan it like the way this guy did. So these are the challenges, Eric, that's facing law enforcement today.
And you certainly have, or you certainly can have mental illness and a premeditated, attack like this to methodically, as it is alleged,
Right.
hit the airplane. First of all, file the papers to have his unloaded gun in the bag, so he did all these proper procedures, and then get out and do what he allegedly did when it gets to baggage claim. I mean, John Hinckley Jr. And Ronald Reagan, you had this, for years. So how do you put that together between being potentially mentally ill and or having something that's very planned out to the level of giving himself up by just sitting down on the floor when the cops came?
See, that's the other thing, too, Eric. You say he gave himself up. See, that doesn't really fall in line with the way that ISIS exactly, talks about the way that they want their efforts carried out. And so by this guy giving himself up, it was almost like he didn't want to die as a result of what he did. So that tells me, as a law enforcement investigator, he was very aware of what he was doing. And whether or not he expected the outcome to be what it was, we don't know. But I'll tell you this one thing, the only reason that this guy stopped shooting yesterday is because he ran out of bullets. He didn't stop shooting because he was confronted by the police. He simply ran out of bullets, and that's why he gave himself up.
And not only sitting down, but you also talk about that photograph. Tell me a bit about that and what that tells you. The one of him with his index finger, which has been shared. Other terrorists, Joe Carr in Boston had a photograph of him. What does that symbolize, and what would that photograph tell you?
Right. By him, showing his index finger, he's giving, he's somewhat, praising Allah. And that's what that means in the ISIS world. And not only the finger, the index finger, but also the scarf that he was wearing, that has Palestinian, it comes from the Palestinian world. And we see this oftentimes in individuals that want to carry out, the efforts of ISIS and Al-Qaeda and these other groups. So, we got to look at all of these things. We just can't say all of a sudden, well, yeah, this is just total mental illness, when in fact this could have been a lot more than that, Eric.
Yeah, he apparently says that he was forced to by his brainwaves to watch the ISIS videos, yet he's seen in the photograph apparently celebrating what some could interpret as ISIS. It reminds me back in 1997, we just showed you the video by accident, it's the Empire State Building shooting. This was when a Palestinian terrorist opened fire on the observation level of the Empire State Building and killed one person. The suspect was Abul Kamal, and at the time it was same thing. He's mentally ill, he's disturbed, he was despondent over losing financial aspects, and it took 10 years, Rod, until the truth came out that was a premeditated terrorist attack. His daughter admitted it finally after 10 years. So can you have, either it's a mixture, or can you have someone, claiming, mental illness, as certainly was in that case, when that is not the actual reason behind it?
Right. Well, here's the short answer to that. Yes and no. And the reason I say yes is because it is a two-pronged event. I mean, you can easily say, oh, the reason I did what I did is because I was mentally ill. But at the same time, what we are charged with in law enforcement as investigators is to try to disprove that. I guarantee you, Eric, when this case goes to court, when it goes to court at whatever point, this guy, his attorney, his defense attorney, is going to argue that he was mentally insane at the time because of his experience over in Iraq. Maybe that's the case, maybe it wasn't the case, but we're going to have to prove that that wasn't the case if it was. And the way we're going to be able to prove that is by showing a history of behavior of this individual and the fact that this entire event was premeditated.
So, do you think there'll be an insanity plea, as you just said, and the way to counter that, you just pointed out?
Oh, easy.
What has he got in his computer?
Oh, absolutely. He's going to plead insanity. I mean, I can tell already just by listening to his aunt, his aunt and other family members are already starting to stage that argument. Oh, he didn't get enough assistance when he was having his mental problems. And so I see exactly where they're going with that. And maybe, like I said, maybe the guy did have mental problems. But the question that I have, if he had such mental problems, why did he take so much time to plan this attack out? And why did he give himself up? Because if by giving himself up, that doesn't necessarily fall in line with the rules in which ISIS have propagated amongst themselves.
Yeah, a lot of conflicting bits of evidence here, Rod. Thank you for your analysis.
Thank you, Eric.